Hey there, my name is John Lim, and welcome to our Alumni Honoring Week interviews, where we sit down and chat with one of our 700 NetCan alumni and share a few laughs and hear their story. Today, I have with me Angela Merkosky. Angela, welcome to the show. Insert applause here if we have any of that kind of budget here. Really nice to meet you.
Thank you. Yeah, nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
So Angela, tell me a little bit about yourself, kind of like a before, during, and after kind of net overview. We really want to get to know who you are.
Okay, yeah. So my name is Angela. I grew up in Fort McMurray and then moved to Edmonton. So I live in Edmonton with my family now. Grew up Catholic and everything, went to Catholic school and Mass every Sunday and whatever, but not a ton outside of that. And then I started university in 2014 in education, and I did a few years of that. And then after my third year, the thought of net just kept coming up, and I just couldn't squash it down anymore. So I decided to start looking it up and everything, and then ended up applying and got accepted. So I did net in 2017 to 2018. And it was in the middle of my university degree, which I actually think was really great timing. It worked out really, really well.
Wow, like that's crazy. A lot of people kind of hesitate on taking a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I thought it was a hard decision at first, but then I thought definitely better to do it now than after I finished my degree. I think it just would have gotten harder. And I also loved that when I did net, I did have a little bit more life experience and stuff. And I think that was really, really useful for me when I was on the road. So yeah, the timing was perfect.
Sorry, what were you going to school for?
I'm in school for education. So actually, I was in school. I finished now.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's recent, actually. I just finished in December. So
okay.
I graduated university, and now I'm teaching grade 2 French immersion online, which is interesting.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll definitely have to talk a little bit more about that. But keep going.
Yeah, so I did net in 2017, 2018. My team was the first Vancouver team. So that was a really unique experience for us. We kind of got to pave the way out there. Nothing was really that set in stone kind of when we got there. It was all up in the air. So it was a really amazing experience. We got to meet a lot of amazing people. We were a school board team, so we did a lot of retreats throughout the Archdiocese, and we also worked in some schools weekly and then ran a few youth groups. So that was really great because we really got to know the community. A few different communities, and also just travel around and stuff.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. You guys did retreats at schools. You ran youth ministries. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, it was really good, but it was definitely busy. The first half of the year was pretty quiet because we didn't quite know exactly everything that we'd be doing yet, and still just really figuring it out. It was all really new for net and for our team. But then as the year went on, we got super busy, and it was challenging because we were all over the place. And so we were in Vancouver, and then we were out in Abbotsford. And so there was a lot of driving involved, and rush hour is a big thing in Vancouver. It is real.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time in our car, just traveling between the different cities and stuff like that.
So when you say the Vancouver diocese, what does that entail? Like just like Vancouver City, outside of Vancouver? Like how far did you guys go?
Yeah, we kind of went, so in Vancouver proper and North Van and West Van. One of the schools we worked at every day was in North Vancouver. So not every day, sorry, every week. We were there 2 days a week. So that was in North Vancouver. And then we would do retreats all the way out to Abbotsford. We helped run the youth group there, and then kind of all the cities in between. And then we also went to Kamloops a few times to do ministry there. So that was a bit of a drive, but we did that a few times, which was really cool.
And you did just the 1 year of net, right?
Yes, that's right. I just did 1 year. And yeah,
afterwards,
I absolutely loved my year, but 1 year was good.
Yeah. And then afterwards, what'd you end up doing? What happened?
Yeah, so after I did my year with net, I came back home here in Edmonton, and I finished my degree. So I had a year and a half left when I came back. So yeah, just back in this December, I finished my degree and then started teaching really quickly, which was exciting.
That's a very quick transition, eh?
It was, and actually it was interesting because when I ended net, it was kind of a blessing to just kind of know that I was going back into university, because I know a lot of people really struggle with what to do after net.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of knew that I would just go back and finish my degree, and that's what I did. But it was harder than I thought, because after doing net and being so involved in ministry and just doing so much that just feels so important and purposeful, to come home back to university was definitely a challenge, because I just felt like I was just sitting in these classes, like, what am I doing with myself? So it was actually quite a challenging transition back home. But
Yeah.
as I've kind of gotten more into it and I did my practicums and now I'm teaching, it's been really good. Yeah.
With that kind of transition, what did you do to help yourself? What kind of life changes did you have to make, if any?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that I learned on net was how to do daily prayer, because I definitely wasn't consistent with that before net. I know a lot of people say that, but it's definitely true. So that was one thing that helped me a lot with my transition home. I also was able to talk to my family quite a bit about kind of what I'd experienced, and that was really good. And I found that that was really helpful for them to know what I had been through, but also for me to just process my year. Talking to teammates and stuff and keeping in touch with them was definitely great. Just these
Do you
people.
still keep in touch with them?
Sorry?
Do you still keep in touch with your teammates?
Yeah, and actually it's been really cool, because since this quarantine has happened,
Yep.
my sisterhood has gotten together every Thursday. We've started all talking together, which is awesome, because I think we had done that, like, all talk together once since our year ended. And now that we're all just home, we, for the past few weeks, have been talking once a week, which has been super nice. And so we're continuing to do that. So that's been a huge blessing. Also, this time, like this period of time we're in, has allowed us to reconnect and just, yeah, catch up. And so that's been amazing.
Yeah, that's really nice. Oh, man. How has your life on net and everything that you learned on net, you kind of spoke a little bit about it, your daily prayer life, but was there anything else that kind of really changed your life right now? Anything that you've been able to integrate to kind of normal life?
Yeah, so yeah, daily prayer has definitely been a big thing. I think one thing I learned on net too is just really great communication skills and how to have open and honest communication with everyone. So even in my family, I've noticed that that's made a big difference. Being more confident in, knowing that what I have to say is important, and being able to say those things. And I think that that's been really helpful. Also, since net and just having more experience with ministry, since I've been home, I have helped out at a few different things around Edmonton, like at my parish. This past year, I was helping out with RCIA for kids.
Oh,
And that was
wow.
really great. And I was definitely able to use a lot of what I learned on net, even just um, little talks or activities that we would do during our retreats. Like, I was definitely able to bring some of those things in, which I think some of them are just so great. And so that was really great. Music ministry was also a really big thing that I learned on net that I've been able to bring into other things. Yeah, I love music. I love to sing and play piano and guitar and stuff. So one of the things I've done since coming home, because of what I learned on net, was my cousin and I have kind of started this Catholic women's group. And so I lead praise and worship at that. And again, I think those skills, I think I really developed because of net. I wasn't the music leader or anything, but definitely had the chance to just practice getting up in front of people and leading music and worship. And so that's been amazing. I love that.
That's pretty big. Like, you and your cousin just started this women's group. Like, tell me more about it. Like, that's a big thing to start.
Yeah, she kind of started it. She actually started it when I was on net, but then since I've come home, we've gotten together quite a bit and planned for it. And yeah, it's been amazing. So it's just this thing that she started, and it started off kind of small, but it's really great. Her grandparents let us use their house, so it's nothing fancy, but they leave for the night and we use their house, and we try and bring in different people from the area to come in and speak, or sometimes we'll just watch YouTube videos like Father Mike Schmidt. So just some talks that are on YouTube, because there's some really great content out there too. We try and do small group stuff. We always do a bit of praise and worship, and it's been amazing. Yeah, it's been just a place for people to come and get to talk and learn more about their faith, grow in their faith together. So that's been a huge blessing for me. And I think too, for the other people that are able to come. And I absolutely love helping out at it and getting to go. And
Wow. So it kind of sounds like you've been able to find a little bit of a community back home. Because I know that one thing that a lot of alumni struggle with right after coming off of NET is that when they go back home, they kind of have a hard time with the lack of community because they've been surrounded by these young adults who are very active in their faith for a whole year. But it sounds like you've been able to kind of find that community. Was it easy? Like, did you already have it before, or like, what was that kind of like?
So I think finding community was definitely challenging when I came home. I'm blessed to have a really great family and lots of extended family and cousins that I'm really close with, so that was amazing. But I didn't find that there was a huge young adult community here in Edmonton, and so this women's group that my cousin started that I've been helping out with was amazing for that, because it was a place that I found that community. And then since then, there are a few young adult events here in Edmonton that I try and attend. That definitely was a challenge though, and it took a little bit of adjusting, but slowly that's been coming. And so that's been a huge blessing to find that community again. And I've also been able to help out with a few NET events here in Edmonton, which was such a blessing for me as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I've hosted some teams that have come through, which I just love doing. And then I was able to help out last year with December retreat. Me and a few friends were the cooks, and that was such a blast. And it was so nice to have a little piece of NET again after, having been on NET and then not having a lot of that community. To get to experience that again was a huge blessing for me and just so much fun.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for volunteering your time. We need people like you to help to run our events and everything. So thank you so much for doing that.
My pleasure. I love it. I really love getting to have little pieces of NET again. So yeah.
You said that you had a little bit of a hard time finding community. What was it like going back to school after NET? And were you able to find any kind of community there? Did it feel like a whole different world after you came back?
Yeah, it definitely did. And that was one of the really hard things about when I decided to do NET is I was in my third year of university before I went. And so I knew that if I went on NET, I'd come back and a lot of the friends that I'd been with would have graduated when I got back. And so that was really tough because when I came back to university, not only did I not have that community like I'd experienced on NET, but also a lot of my friends who I had gone through my program with were done. And so I was able to make some friends. And again, I had some cousins at university. And so that was really great. But that was really definitely a challenge, even just like finding people in my classes that I could work with, since the people that I had in the past were graduated and stuff. So yeah, university, that first semester back especially was quite challenging. But it definitely got better too as I kept on going with my university degree and met a few more friends then that were at the same place as me. And yeah,
you kind of had to like almost start over again. It was almost as if you were like the new kid in school, even though you're going back to the same school that you went to.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I actually went to university in French here in Edmonton. The University of Alberta has a French campus where I was able to get my degree, so it is really small.
Okay.
So all of my friends had graduated, and then I didn't really know anybody who was behind me. I had one friend from high school that was, she had also kind of done university a little bit later, and so that was amazing to have one friend there. But it was definitely a challenge for sure.
You graduated in December, and now you're teaching, and then COVID-19 happened.
Yes, that has been very interesting. So I started teaching just at the end of January. By the time all of my paperwork and everything got sorted out. And then, 2 months in, schools get shut down. So there's been a lot of transitions and a lot of changes that have happened since December, really. A lot has happened.
Yeah.
So we're about a month into online school, and we're starting to get into a groove. I talk to my students like I have individual meetings with them once a week. So that's really nice. It's been interesting talking to 7-year-olds on like via the internet. But yeah, that's been good just to connect with them, and we're kind of getting into a groove now, but it's been an interesting few months, that's for sure.
Now, what school do you teach at?
So I teach at a school called Father Leo Green here in Edmonton, and it's part of Edmonton Catholic Schools.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's actually where I went to. My family moved to Edmonton when I was in grade 6. It's actually where I went to grade 6. And my mom went there when she was in elementary school. So it's kind of full circle that I ended up back there, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. And a few teachers that I had are still there too, which was so nice. So when I started, a familiar face. I could have been anywhere in the city, but ended up back at that little school, which is, really cool.
Yeah, it's funny how things work out like that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How do you kind of live out your faith now, I guess? Do you feel like things that you learned on net, you're really able to kind of deploy that in the work that you do, in just your regular life?
Yeah, I think the biggest way that I try to live that out in the classroom and just in my life is just by the way that I, treat people and hopefully make them feel and stuff like that. So in the class, it's definitely, I just try to treat all the students with love and respect. And even though they're 7, like make sure that they know that what they have to say matters and I care. And so that's the biggest thing. And then one thing I learned on that too is just like how to pray, even just out loud. So that's something that we've been able to do in the classroom, which was really awesome. And, just fun little prayers or dances that I learned on that we were able to do in the class. And of course, grade 2, they love that stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things so since we're doing online school, and I know it's different in every province, but in Alberta here, we're focusing on just English, French, math. And then because we're a Catholic school, we're still focusing on religion. And so still trying to make what I'm teaching in religion really relevant and practical for them. And so this past week, for example, we were just practicing, being grateful for stuff and just thanking Jesus for all the blessings that he gives us, even though our lives look so different right now and we can't see our friends and that kind of thing. And so trying to teach them that faith is just so important, especially during these times.
What was kind of, I guess, one of the most important things that you learned from net, if you can recall, things that has kind of carried into your job right now, your life right now?
I think the biggest thing that I learned on net was just trusting in God. And that's an ongoing lesson, I think, that I've been having to learn. But net was just such a crash course in that almost, because you really just have to trust for everything, like for where you're going to stay, what you're going to eat, what you're going to be doing. You really have to just rely on people's generosity and stuff for those kind of things. And so that was a huge lesson in trust. There were a few times when my team, it would be Saturday night and we wouldn't know where we were going to be staying the next day. Like we hadn't found new host homes and stuff yet. A lot of people in Vancouver hadn't heard about net yet and were hesitant to host. So yeah, lots of just things like that where we really just had to trust God and say, you're going to make it all work out. And so we're just going to, trust you, let it happen. So that was a huge lesson for me that I experienced on net. Even just all the little things that go wrong, you're like, okay, it's going to work out, and you really just have to give it all to God and let him take control, because that's kind of your only option. So that was a huge lesson that I learned on net that I've been able to take into my life, even as I started teaching. It was definitely hard at the beginning. I was kind of thrown in there at the end of January and didn't really know what I was doing exactly. So just, again, just being able to turn to God and say, like, I trust that you've got a plan and you're going to help me figure this out. And, you're going to help me teach these kids to the best of my abilities. And so, trust was a huge lesson that I learned on net that I've been able to bring into my life back at home here.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I would have no idea how to teach a class full of grade 2s. Like,
challenging,
but rewarding.
Yeah, they're so cute.
What's kind of the most memorable thing from net? Anything about your teammates? Something that you kind of always reminisce about?
Oh yeah. This is just a random little story, but when we were on net, It was spring break in Vancouver. And so they had 2 weeks of spring break and all the schools were closed. And so we spent the first week kind of just doing ministry prep. But then the second week, my team we were able to go use somebody's cabin out near Kamloops for some of the week. And we went and we kind of all had our own silent retreats while we were there.
Okay.
So we were in this house together, but we didn't talk at all. And we had 2 days of silent retreat. And then we had 2 days of just like hanging out and being together. And during that time, like it was such a blessing for our team. It was just time for us to like pause, take a break, and then grow closer to God during our silent retreat and then to each other and just be. And it was amazing. But on our way there, we stopped to buy groceries and we were shopping at Superstore, I think. And we ended up getting a free turkey, which was so random.
A free turkey?
Yeah, apparently if you spent X amount of money, you got a free turkey. And so we had no idea. So we ended up getting this free turkey and we were all just dying laughing about that. Thought it was so funny. And then we got to the cabin and one of my teammates, Celestia, cooked this turkey and it was just like the best turkey that we've ever eaten. And so when we talk, we always reminisce about the cabin and that turkey.
One of your teammates, a young adult, just knows how to cook a turkey.
I know. Yeah. A few of them actually, my team had really great cooks. So yeah, that was amazing. We ate really well that weekend.
Yeah. And I mean, that must have been nice because normally like on net, you're being hosted by families and stuff like that. So you don't really get the opportunity to cook or anything like that. So that must have been a little bit of a fun experience there.
It was such a good, few days to just be together and just hang out. Like we didn't really have a space. Like we didn't have an office or anything like that. So we would just kind of be calling parishes and ask if we could use a free room or whatever. And so being able to just like have a space where we could just be was so nice and get to cook what we wanted and just hang out. And they were just really relaxed days. We didn't do anything crazy, but it was just, a huge blessing and just a chance to rest and recharge for the rest of our ministry.
Yeah. Oh man. That sounds super fun.
Yeah, it was so great.
I think we're kind of coming to the end here. Angela, thank you so much for your time and for sharing some amazing stories. And now before we sign off, I have one kind of question for you. For our audience out there, our missionaries get a modest monthly stipend to spend on whatever they want since their food and housing is kind of taking care for them during their mission year. So, Angela, I want to know, what is the most ridiculous thing that you spent your money on with your stipend?
Oh, that is a good question. It's not really ridiculous, but there was this store in Vancouver that sold all sorts of stuff, kind of like a dollar store. And I ended up buying like 4 packs of this one kind of pen. And I still have like 3 unopened. Like, I don't know why I bought so many. I just loved these pens.
Sorry, pens?
Yeah, I don't know. My whole sisterhood, I think, bought these pens, or some of us did anyways, but I bought like a whole bunch of packs of them. I don't know why. And so I still have a whole bunch of them unopened, just sitting in my drawer.
No, okay. Are these like colorful pens? Like what?
Yeah.
Why?
This is just one of them. They were just like these colorful pens. I don't even know. I mean, they write nicely, but nothing crazy about these pens. And I just bought a lot of them.
So much so that even after almost 2 years, you still have them.
Yeah, I've got tons of them. They're everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, that is definitely ridiculous. It's not the kind of ridiculous that I expected.
Yeah, it's not like crazy, but it's just random, weird. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of nice to know that you weren't the only one that bought these pens. You know, the women on your team all bought them.
Exactly.
So do you guys do you guys all still have them? Like, because you guys have been, doing these Zoom meetings every week now. Yeah. Like, do you guys all still have them?
That's a great question. I should ask them next time we talk. I don't know if they still have them. I definitely still have mine. So I don't know. Yeah.
It's like the sisterhood of the traveling pens.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that is all the time we have for today. Again, Angela, I really appreciate your time and thank you so much for your year of service with NET. And thank you again for coming on this little show here that we got.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm John Lim, and this is Angela, and we'll see you next time. Take care.